Welcome to day 8 of the Self-Love Challenge. More than halfway there. Today, we are going to talk about alignment versus balance. As a life coach, I can't tell you how often I've heard I want more balance. But today, we're going to talk about how alignment might be what you're actually looking for and how that's going to help with your self-love. Welcome to the Self-Love Challenge series on Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey Sorensen, a former teacher, current homeschool mom, and a certified life coach. Whether you teach in a traditional classroom or from your kitchen table, I'm here to help you not only survive, but thrive as an educator. Let's go on a self-love journey over these next 14 days so you can pour some of that same love you give to your kids, your families, your communities, to somebody who deserves it just as much, yourself. To get started with the free Self-Love Challenge, I recommend starting from the first episode and listening through each day. But to get the full challenge experience, go to wifeteachermommy.com/self-love-challenge to register for free to get the scorecard to track your progress, a daily email with the link to your audio coaching lesson, and your journal prompt. It is free, and registering will get you more support with the challenge. Now let's get to today's coaching lesson.
Coaching is why I joined the club. I actually signed in originally on the first Educate and Rejuvenate last year, and I felt so heard, and it was like the people with Wife Teacher Mommy really get what we're going through on a day-to-day basis. And I was at the point at the end of the school year, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to come back. I love teaching. I've always wanted to be a teacher, but after COVID and everything that we went through with hybrid teaching and virtual teaching, I was just exhausted. So Educate and Rejuvenate really did rejuvenate my teacher spirit. I joined because of the coaching. Yes, the resources are amazing, and it's nice to go there first before I look for something on TPT. But the coaching is why I joined, and I became an annual member. I've learned so much more about how to process my own feelings, how, things that I thought were the way things were for everybody. It's just the way that we really think about things in our head, and, kind of how to process those feelings and thoughts and emotions, and, kind of change your mindset about something. So it's a fabulous, fabulous club. I have the community, the coaching, especially the Facebook groups, the private podcasts are one of my favorite things because I can't always get on live, but I can always listen in my car on my commute to and from work. So love it.
You made it to day 8, more than halfway. That is incredible. I hope you give yourself major props for that. And I hope you're also seeing a difference in your self-love, how you take care of yourself and your self-talk, your mind-body connection, and all the incredible things we've been talking about so far. I know it's been a lot of information over this time, and that you've been putting in the time for this challenge among all the other demands of teaching and all the other roles that you have in your life. So please don't feel like you need to suddenly be perfect in all of these areas. Spoiler alert, you will never be fully done with this work. We just keep learning and growing, and that's the beauty of it. And you can revisit these episodes whenever you'd like, or other episodes on Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. And if you're in Wife Teacher Mommy Club, come get support in there. This is a work you'll be able to continue to do. But I hope that through this challenge so far, you've felt more love for yourself and others around you as you've connected with yourself more through this challenge. Now, I want to rewind a little bit and go back over my signature framework for a minute and show how all of what we've been talking about so far in this challenge all fits together. And this is a framework I've really been putting together and clarifying as I've been working on my book, which I'm still working on right now. It is tentatively titled The Thriving Teacher. I cannot wait for it to come out. If you love this challenge, you're definitely going to want to grab a copy of the book when it comes out. So stay tuned. If you're registered for the challenge and you're on our email list, you will get updates about the book when we have them. So as a reminder, the 3 steps of my signature coaching framework are: number 1 is to observe yourself. Number two is to choose your direction. And number three is to align yourselves. Number three is to align yourself. So when you observe yourself, we have been doing this the whole time. This is when we look at our thoughts, our feelings, our nervous system, our self-talk, what we love, all the things we've really been, when we've been observing and just looking at what is for ourselves, how we've been loving ourselves, how we haven't, being a curious and compassionate observer. Okay, so that is observing ourselves. Next, we choose our direction, and we've looked at new ways to think about things. We looked at, hey, how would you say it to the younger version of yourself? That's the way you can think about it now. We've talked about how to have more room for what we love and value in our lives. What from our younger self we needed to bring back into our life and continue to do things that brought us joy when we were younger could be brought back into our lives now, or things we need, ways we need to take care of that younger version of ourselves. We will continue to dive more into this category as well, because as I've said, this is a process that builds on each other. We don't observe ourselves and then stop observing ourselves. We keep observing, but then we start choosing our direction instead of just our subconscious taking over. And so we continue to observe, but now we're doing some choosing as well. And then the final step is to align yourself. And this is where we are going to start adding some new tools on top of what we've talked about so far. We've observed ourselves, planned with intention the direction that we want to go. So at this point, we know where we are aiming. This step is to align ourselves with the direction we've decided to take and staying true to our why. We continue to assess and redirect when we get off course. So again, we're still choosing, we're still observing. So think of this as your inner compass, paying attention and making sure you're heading the right way. And the really fascinating thing as I've been looking even more into alignment is I believe that is what a lot of us really want when we say we want more balance in our lives, which tends to be what lots of teachers and homeschool parents say all the time. They just, I want to balance teaching and family. I want to balance homeschooling and family. I want to balance all the things. Let's look at this with an analogy. Like now I'm not a mechanic by any means, but let's look at it like with a car. So with alignment and balance, your car needs both. And I'm not going to say you don't need balance because you want both, just like in a car. But with tires, balanced tires mean we have the same weight distribution in there. So it's really looking at the distribution of things, of the weight among the tires, where alignment is about the wheels all being headed in the right direction. Now, we couldn't just have balance, even if you have the exact same weight in all of the tires, but they're not aligned, they're going to be going all which ways. Your car is not going to work how it needs to, right? So if we were to look at alignment and balance in your life, balance is focused on the quantity of time that we spend in teaching, parenting, work, fitness, faith, whatever. The focus is on the amount of time that we spend in each category. Now, alignment is when we look at each part of our lives being headed towards what we want. It's more focused on removing the noise and expectations from others in each category of your life. Instead of the perfect balance of everything being exactly the same, the question is, am I headed the right direction in each of these categories? Are there certain areas to focus on and others that I have been spending a lot of attention on that I need to let go of? So it's more about the quality of how we're spending our time. For example, in teaching, maybe you're spending some time on things that you don't need to. Maybe you've been grading more papers than you need to, or maybe you've been so focused on doing certain things exactly right or having things organized in a specific way, or things that you could just let go of because maybe they're not the most important thing. You might need to let go of some of those things that might be more like busy work to make more time for what matters most, right? If you're only focused on balance, you're going to just continue to try to juggle it all rather than actually evaluating if all of it needs to be juggled. And that's the interesting thing about alignment. When we're able to say, I can let go of this, maybe that's not the most important part to make room for those other things, is we're actually creating more balance in the process because we're letting go of what is less important. If we are only thinking about balance, we're not necessarily getting more clear. We're just trying to do all the things. Now, just like I said, just like a car, we want to look at both balance and alignment. But what I think most people are actually searching for when they say the more balance is making sure everything is headed the direction they want to go. They want to make sure that they're doing well in their parenting, they're doing well in their teaching, that all those things that are important to them are happening. They don't necessarily care that it's the exact amount of quantity. We care about the quality. When you focus more on that alignment, you find that you would get both, right? So here is a simple exercise to help you create more of that in your life, to help every area in your life head the direction that you want it to go. And remember, this is about not the amount of time. It's about small little things that help you head in the right direction. So what we are going to do is we're going to create a very simple morning and evening routine for yourself. So for example, if you're like, oh, fitness is so important to me, but you haven't been making time for it, maybe part of your morning routine is that you get up and you move every day. And maybe you can set a minimum baseline of I'm going to do at least 3 minutes. So some mornings, all you do is 3 minutes. Other mornings you have time for more, but you have that minimum and you're creating that momentum and that habit of making sure it still happens. Same with like prayer or meditation or gratitude or reading or journaling. Any of those things can fit into a morning and or evening routine. So you can make sure that you are doing those things and headed in the right direction with each of those. You can also, one thing that I love to do at the end of each day as part of the evening routine is look at your wins for the day. Write down at least 3 at the end of each day. And if you did our recent vision board challenge, or listen to our podcast episode all about it, you'll want to check that out if you haven't. And you have a vision board, make sure to include that in either your morning or evening routine or both. And like we talked about with all of these things, even though it's a small amount of time, you might just have 3 things in your morning routine and 3 things in your evening routine. And maybe each one is the minimum amount of time is just a couple minutes. So your morning routine could be less than 10 minutes on a really busy day, but you're still making those things a priority. That is showing that small commitment to yourself. That is showing that love to yourself, that you're making time for those things that are really important to you. So in your journal today, I want you to look at a few things. I want you to think about what can you let go of to make room for what's more important, and how can you focus on alignment, which will help you also get balance. And then think of those things to create your simple morning and evening routine. Tomorrow, we are going to keep the momentum going by looking at your entire schedule. So don't miss it. We will talk then. Thank you for participating in our self-love challenge. For the complete challenge experience, make sure to go to wifeteachermommy.com/self-love challenge to get the scorecard and a daily email with each of the journal prompts for free. And if you're enjoying this challenge, please consider sharing the love by sharing that same link, wifeteachermommy.com/self-love challenge, with a teacher friend or a homeschool friend or all of the people you know who might be interested in this free resource. We have a mission to help as many educators as possible, whether they teach children in a classroom or in their living rooms, to not only survive as an educator, but to thrive in teaching and life. This challenge has been brought to you by Wife Teacher Mommy Club, my signature coaching program created especially for teachers and homeschool parents. Inside the club, you can join us for weekly live life coaching with me and fellow club coaches, VIP access to our summer and winter Educate and Rejuvenate conferences, a library of resources to save you time, and even a private podcast feed where you'll get to listen to every single coaching call we've ever done, all the Educate and Rejuvenate sessions, and so much more. If you love this challenge, why not spend just a few minutes checking it out and seeing if it's right for you? It may just be the ultimate gift of self-love that you could give yourself, because it'll help you take what you've learned in this challenge from the 2x level to the 10x level. So go to wifeteachermommy.com/club to learn more. I would love to see you there, but either way, I will keep seeing you right here on Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast.